Hey guys, welcome back to Unicycle Lore. I got a comment from Dao Shani. He was asking me to break down, or just to make a video about blind Unispins. And Unispinning blind versus regular is something I have a ton of thoughts about. So I decided to make a video to kind of help you decide which way you should spin your unicycle. Because it's a tough decision to make, honestly. And the advice I used to give is a little bit different than the advice I'd give now. I just have a ton of thoughts about this. I'm going to try to get them out there. This isn't going to be super organized, but I did write down some stuff that I want to talk about to kind of help you figure out where to take your unicycling journey if you plan to be a Unispin guy, which I highly recommend, by the way. I think the Unispin is like the quintessential unicycle trick, right? It was like the first cool trick you ever saw, I bet, was a huge Unispin. That's what got me into it. The 7-spin, like the era I started unicycling in was when 720 Unispins were rare. And I would watch all the videos of them over and over again, and my mind was just blown. It looks cool. I decided to put the Dat Boy meme up there. Do you guys remember when this was like... It's kind of sad, honestly, to think this was maybe like the closest unicycling was to entering the mainstream. What's this meme? We didn't capitalize. All we needed was one guy to wear a frog suit and go do some tricks on a video. And who knows, right now, maybe we'd be in the X Games. That's kind of depressing to think about, but we were this close. Anyway, I'm going to start by explaining what blind Unispins are. Or just the term blind in unicycling in general, what it means. If you say this to someone who's not a unicyclist, they're going to be like, oh, do you do it with your eyes closed? Are you wearing a blindfold? Like, I don't even remember which character from Scooby-Doo this is. Is this Velma? This is like, if you do a blind Unispin, do you have to say jinkies before you do it? Like, zoinks! And then you do a 7-spin? Is that a blind Unispin? No, it's not. Actually, the term has evolved over time. It means something different now than it did when I started riding. So blind Unispin, blind used to mean, in unicycling, it used to mean that you did a trick in the opposite direction from how you would normally do it. So like, for example, if you normally do Unispins clockwise, if you did one anti-clockwise or counterclockwise, that is what they would call a blind spin. And so in order to know if someone did a trick blind, you had to know what was their normal spinning direction or their normal twisting direction, and then you had to recognize that they did it the other way. So it was like a subjective thing, right? It had to do with which way felt better to you, the rider. And I don't know exactly when the shift happened, but now it means something different. So take a look at this. This is a blind Unispin, and I'm wondering if you watch this, if you can see what it is that makes it blind. Check again. Let's slow it down. And you know what? I actually remember the keyboard shortcut now. Watch this. That is a blind 720 Unispin. It's going to be tough to tell what makes it blind if I'm not giving you one to directly compare it to. I understand that. But what makes it blind is that this rider spins the unicycle away from his front foot. So he's left foot forward and he's spinning the unicycle to the right. And that's a blind 7-spin. Okay, blind is spinning away from the front foot. And if you don't know, this is Pat Lally. This was a rider who he rode from like 2007 until about 2011. And in that time, he was super good. He became good really quick. This was the final flat battle at NAUCC 2009. First NAUCC that ever had flat battles, and he won. He was from my hometown. Look at this. Here's a picture of us together. This was the trophy he won for winning NAUCC. This is the only time I've ever seen trophies at NAUCC. When I won, I got a little medal that was, well, it wasn't a giant trophy. I'm not bitter about it or anything. He was my friend. We grew up together. The reason I chose to pick a video of Pat Lally is because last unicycle chat, no, it was when I was breaking down Jack's video. I asked if anyone knew who did the first 540 Unispin on tire, and it was actually Pat. That's his NBD. It happened at NAUCC 2009, which is just a fun little fact, fun piece of lore. So shout out Isaiah Steffen for getting that one. That's a pretty crazy little trivia fact that he knew. I'm really impressed. Yeah. Shout out Isaiah. If you haven't, you should go watch his videos. He was also super good. So Pat was a blind spinner. This is a video of Pele. Pele Schramm, also a blind unispinner. This was the first guy to ever do an out 720 unispin. You can see he spins away from his front foot. He's left foot forward. He spins clockwise, so he spins away from the front foot. And here's another blind unispin. This is by Ed Leduc, blind 9. Look how clean that is. Is this his first one? I don't know. But that is so clean. And blind unispins, like spinning away from the front foot like that, that used to be something that I saw as I saw it as disadvantageous just across the board. I was a blind unispinner, and in my opinion, it was a thing that held me back. In 2010, I broke my right thumb, which was the thumb on my front hand when I was doing unispins. And so I learned to spin the opposite direction. I learned to spin into my front foot, so not blind. And it just felt so much better. It felt so much easier to land the spins that I was like, oh, this is just objectively better. Everyone should be doing this. And so that was the recommendation I made for a long time. If you're a blind unispinner, you should switch. Now that I've had, I don't know, 15 years to reflect on it, now that I've been able to do high-level unispins in both directions, and I've had a little more time to consider the pros and cons and to explore the advantages and disadvantages of each direction of spins, I think my take is a little more nuanced than that. So that's kind of what we're going to get into here. So the thing about regular unispins, which I'm going to show you, this is the craziest 5-spin you'll ever see. This is Cody Williams. Look at this line. The flip into one-footed riding. And now here's a regular 5-spin. Did you catch that? Look at how he spins toward his front foot. This is a regular spin. We'll slow it down. It's a 5-spin, and he just throws it off the bench, lands completely no-handed, and he rides out. That is a regular unispin. And now, the big advantage here of doing regular unispins is that your foot catches the wheel and stops it from spinning any further. You see how his ankle is like wedged in there, his right ankle? The tire runs into it, and it stops the spin. And so that allows you to just throw it, and you don't even have to catch with your hands. You can just huck it. And if you look at people's Unispin videos, if you just literally just type in Unispins, hang on one sec, I gotta put my dog out. If you just look up a video of Unispins on here, most people spin in the regular direction. Most people spin toward their front foot, into their front foot. And I think the reason that it's considered easier, or that it just might be more natural for most people, is that your feet stop the spin, so you can just stomp it and ride off. They're easier to land. Now, the other thing about them that makes them, I think what I would say is maybe this is better for like a beginner rider. Well, look at this one too. Check this out. This is a 1080 Unispin. So now we're getting into the big spins now. This is by Matteo. Boom. Look at that. This guy's really good at spins. He's also good at blind spinning. Look at this. You just huck it, and your feet help you catch. Like, look at this. His at this point in the spin, his feet are on the pedals, and his hands can come down late. Come on, Piper. So your feet help you catch the wheel. They stop the spin. I think that's a good illustration of what makes it a little bit better. The other thing that's really good about this is if you're a person who's interested in doing flip tricks, like where you combine a crank flip with a unispin, this spinning toward your front foot really lends itself to that. Here's a couple examples. This is Jack doing sedge flips. And I think most guys who can do big crank flips like this, big spin flip tricks like sedge flips, even like fifth flips and stuff, a lot of people will tell you it feels like you ride fast and do a 7 spin, or you ride fast and do a 5 spin, because you can just kind of like, you just flick the pedal a little bit and the wheel goes around when you spin toward your front foot. It's not necessarily the case when you spin away from your front foot. So if you're interested in doing it like more technical riding than just Unispins, it's probably a good idea to spin toward your front foot. Now, another thing I'll say is that spinning toward your front foot is better for landing side spins. It's better for doing backside spins and backside flips. It's better for secret sides. It's better for anti-side. It's better for scissor side if you want to like go down that path someday. So basically, well, not all of them, but most of the side spin variations, I would say, are easier to land if you do them toward your front foot or regular. It's got a lot of advantages. It really does. If you want to talk about blind spins and where that becomes advantageous, it's mostly in the realm of out flips. Okay, and I'm not exactly sure why. I don't know exactly what is the mechanism that makes out flipping blind easier, but this is actually the clip that Dow posted on his Instagram, where the initial comment, it won't let me play this, where I saw the initial comment about recording this video to talk about blind spins. This is an out fifth flip. You can see he does this like pretty much one-handed. Look how his hand just guides it around. So out flips are easier blind. I think like 90% of people who are out flippers would tell you this. Maybe not Mimo. He does like in sedge flips and he does them regular. But most guys who do out flips do them blind, even if they're normally a regular unispinner. Even if most of their seat out spins are done regular, they'll out flip blind. And as someone who's done both, I'll tell you, it just feels nicer. It feels nicer. It feels like when you kick the pedal, it's like you're also kicking the spin, right? It's like it's going away from your foot. You can kind of see it here. Look. Hold up just a sec here until this comes back around. Yeah, look. Like his foot like helps him get it started there. His back foot is off the pedal. Look at that. His back foot is off the pedal, and his front foot is helping him like get the spin going. I don't know if that's exactly what it is. It might also have to do with the fact that most riders just use a symmetrical stance where your left foot is forward and your right hand is on the handle. And so you're used to crank flipping with the opposite hand of your front foot. So that would naturally lend itself toward a blind spin, whether you're right foot or left foot forward. Here's another, this is another famous out flipper. This is Pele again. I feel like people don't know this guy well enough, but this is a full outside flip down a 3-set, and then look at this next clip. Full out flip up the 3-set. He does his out flips completely one-handed. This, if he wasn't the first guy to out fifth, then he was the second. I think out fifth flip is his NBD. I know out fifth side flip is his NBD. Yeah, this guy is sick. He was really, really close to out sedge flips before he retired. Yeah, Pele was really, really good. And then if you want to talk just the ultimate out flip trick, look at this. This is Waylon Bat. I know you know him. And this trick this is absolutely sick. Out 9 flip. Look at the way his hands guide it around. And he just kind of floats up off the pedals. Like that's elegant. You know what I mean? That's a work of art, that trick. Man. Really, really sick. So blind is better for out flips. If you're spinning regular, that's better for regular seat in front flip tricks. I think that's fairly straightforward. I will also say, as someone with extensive experience out flipping, out spinning, side spinning, I think blind spinning is better for like anti-backside and super side. Although, there's not many people doing either of those variations. I don't think. The ones who I've seen tend to do it blind. I guess Scotty did the super side regular. But I think it would be easier blind just because it's like naturally a trick you want to do out, Anyway, the main point there has to do with the out flipping being easier blind. I don't want this to be too convoluted. I'm hoping that you can follow my train of thought here. Just bottom line here. I think regular spinning is probably better for beginners. If you're going to go hard on spins and flips and technical riding and stuff, the truth is you want to do both. You want to be able to do both. I actually that would be my recommendation as of right now. I used to think you got to pick one and just go down that path, and if you were gonna pick one, you should pick regular. But now that I'm kind of looking at it from like the twilight of my career. Now that I'm looking back on it, I could honestly say that being able to do both it just opened so many doors for me. It made unicycling more fun, which is, at the end of the day, that's why you're doing this, right? To have fun. Why would you limit yourself in any capacity? I would say if you're 540 degrees ahead in either spinning direction, it's time to do a little homework, do a little catching up. If you can 900 in one direction, but you can't 5 spin in the other direction, there's a hole in your riding that you need to fill. That's my opinion. It's just going to open more doors for you. It's going to increase your skill ceiling. You're going to have a bigger bag of tricks. Go watch Jack Seben's new video where he does stuff switch. Okay? Jack has opened so many doors for himself by being able to ride switch. Like, look at his combos. He can do perfectly symmetrical combos with spins and with crank rolls starting switch and regular. Like, ambidexterity in riding is never going to be a bad thing. You want more of it. You want to be able to use both hands. You want to be able to spin both ways. Now, there's one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is something that I diagnosed last summer when I did the 1260 side. I think this is the biggest advantage of blind spinning. One thing you'll know, if you're in the loop, every 1260 Unispin that's ever been done has been done blind. There's Marcus Hahn, blind 1260. Look at this. He spins away from his front foot. Boom. That's a hammer. Okay? Biggest spin ever done. It's a 1260. Here's a video of me. This is my first one. Oh, 1260. This is from 2012. My goodness. That's forever ago. Look how low the seat is. I'm still this height. I haven't grown since this. I just put my seat up. Now, here's, you can look at this image here and you can see what I'm going to be talking about. This is the advantage of spinning blind, doing big spins blind, is that you can load up the spin. If you've seen any of my unicycle school videos about crank flips or double flips or whatever, then you know that one of the most important things, in my opinion, about doing basically any trick is using this pivot, where during the last half rev of your roll-up, you essentially what you're doing is bracing and getting ready to rebound off the ground and convert your forward-moving energy into upward-moving energy. And like I said in those videos, I'll tell you, I'm not a scientist, but spinning blind lets you just load this thing up. If you look at my body here, the shoulders are twisted against the direction of the pivot. So I'm already like cranking the seat to the right, and the unicycle is pointed toward the left. So you get like this, it's like this really. You're crossed up and you're resisting the rebound. And so then when the tire, when you like decompress the tire and you jump and you leave the ground, what you get is snap. And you can just absolutely rip it, dude. Like, you can spin so fast if you spin blind. And I think it's because of this. Obviously, the slow motion makes it a little harder to show you this. I skipped the full speed. Look at this. Look how fast it goes. Bop. Bop. And it's because of this right here. The takeoff, you compress, you brace, and look at just how it's loaded up. You can see it's like a coil that's wound tight, and you're just ready to rip it. And anyone you ask who's done big blind unispins, you can ask Jack, you can ask Matteo. I remember talking to Matteo about this in like 2012, and he was like, he can spin it so fast. You can spin them so fast. If you want to do big unispins, I recommend you learn to spin blind because of this right here. If you can master this technique, The unicycle just pops off the ground. It spins so fast. It's really, really good. Now, the problem then, there's no... It's not like a utopia. There's always going to be some kind of drawback. You can spin it really fast, but the problem then is you don't get the advantage of the regular Unispin where your foot stops the spin. The unicycle is like, the wheel's like running away from you at the end of a blind spin. So there's a couple things you can do about that. You can try to like rotate your body a little bit in the air. Again, if you watch Jack's video where he's doing the blind nines, you'll see he kind of lands after having rotated 90 degrees in the same direction as the unicycle. Okay, almost like he's doing a mammoth spin or a monster spin or whatever, but just not quite a full 180. The other thing that I found is super helpful, you can see on video here. I'm going to swap the order of these. This is John Atwell, one of the OG North American flatland riders. He's kind of helped start the flat scene in America, like with Spencer Hochberg. Blind spinner. Here's his 720. And if you look at this, you'll notice he catches it with his front hand. He catches it with the hand he threw with. Look at that. He landed completely one-handed. This is like one of the most stylish 7-spins I've ever seen. John Atwell had such nice style. I hope he still rides from time to time. This guy is so cool. John Atwell's is maybe like the happiest person I've ever met, I think. Every time I've ever interacted with this guy, I'm like, he's just so friendly and nice. Yeah, he's a really cool guy. And his riding was sick. Look how fired up he was. He also has literally the whitest smile I've ever seen. Look at that. You catch with the same hand you throw with. And that's going to help you. I don't know why it helps. But like when I do blind 7 spins, even now, I just focus on catching with my right hand. I start with my right hand in front. I focus on catching with my right hand. And it makes the landing more manageable. Which means, if you're a regular spinner, you know that's exactly the opposite of what you do on a regular spin. Like, look at this here. This is Chris Kovacs doing a 7 spin. When you 7 spin regular, he's going to go toward his front foot. His left hand is in front. Left foot forward, left hand in front spins. So he's spinning counterclockwise. And you catch with your right hand. So the opposite hand. When you spin regular, you catch with the opposite hand that you throw with. When you spin blind, you catch with the same hand that you throw with. Okay? And focusing on catching Unispins is huge. It's huge. Everybody talks, everyone says jump higher, spin faster. And that is literally the best advice they can give you if you want to do bigger Unispins. By the way, it used to be a meme. It's just the truth. Jump higher, spin faster is the best advice anyone can give you for Unispins. The second best piece of advice is, well, if you're spinning regular, catch with the opposite hand from the one you threw with. Or if you're spinning blind, catch with the same hand that you threw with. And if you focus on that, you can do some crazy Unispins, I'm telling you. All right, it works for side spins too. Same exact thing, works for side spins. If you're spinning regular, there's a little more nuance there. If you're spinning regular, you know what? I don't want to talk about side spins. Ask me about side spins in the comments. I'll tell you about it. But that's my big piece of advice, okay? That's it. I have no idea how long this video was. I hope it wasn't like 20 minutes long. I feel like I've been yapping. I hope that wasn't too much rambling. I hope you can get something out of this. Really, I like talking about these old clips and stuff too. So I hope that you guys can see the unicycle lore connection there too. Look how fired up he is, dude. You want this feeling, man. I'm telling you. You want to do your first 7 spin so you can feel like this. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop them in the comments. If you like this kind of thing, like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to do more video essays like this whenever I get a chance. And guys, make a video responding to this with your advice. You can react to this video. My other dog wants to come in, so I gotta go get him. Yeah. All right, that's it. Don't forget to subscribe.